hard contact, and down goes Jasmine Powell. You saw the Tennessee starting five. Puckett is the number 3 scorer. Jackson in her 6th game of the season. Striplin making her 6th straight start. And Powell coming off 16 points in the win against Auburn on Thursday night. There is the grad transfer from Minnesota in her 2nd season with Tennessee.
A lot on Jasmine Powell's shoulders now with the injury to Destiny Wells. She needs to be able to stay on the floor for the Lady Vols today.
A basket traveling violation. Now Tennessee turned the ball over 23 times on Thursday and forced just 6. So they were a minus 17 in turnover margin, yet they still won at Auburn by 8. Can you explain that to me?
They shot extremely well. The problem was, especially in the first half, they did get shot opportunities. So a key, Kelly Harper said, is I'll deal with the turnovers, but we have to play with pace.
It will stay with Kentucky. There is Kelly Harper, her team now with 8 wins on the season. They've won 4 in a row after going through 3 straight losses, the big part of it. We'll talk about it. Rickea Jackson missing 8 games. The team lost 4 of those 8 games. Shear getting her going early.
I'm going to say message received from Maddie Shear from her head coach, because when I asked her, Maddie Shear, no shot attempt, she said, yeah, she knows she has to get going for us.
Both teams will try to score off the pressure. Kentucky gets the turnover, and the former Lady Vol, Brooklyn Miles, gets her first points. But now Puckett back the other way. You're expecting a track meet here today. Even though Tennessee has the speed, they still want to push.
Absolutely. Kentucky has probably the overall speed advantage. Tennessee has the height advantage. Kyra Elsie told us we want to push in transition. If we get a good look, we'll take it. If not, we want to work the shot clock down.
Miles takes a tumble, lost her footing. Jackson back the other way with Rowe back, and Rowe did a great job getting the position, and she taking play.
Yeah, and that was just a great lead pass by Maddie Shear, and if Tennessee's post get caught that high, they're going to have weak side help.
Breakdown on the baseline, out of bounds play. Defensively for Kentucky, another layup for Tennessee.
Well, all 6 points for Tennessee have come on players not getting set defensively. Effort is there so far for Kentucky. They just got to get solid in the half-court defense.
Puckett's got 4 of the Tennessee 6. Petty, so strong inside. I know you've been very impressed by her dedication and her pursuit of being a great player.
She transformed her body this offseason, came back from summer workouts, PR'd in every statistical category. That's a young lady who dedicated herself to being better for her team this season.
First points for Jackson, averaging 20 a game.
And something to watch from the Lady Vols is how Kelly Harper uses the height advantage. Basically, Kentucky's playing 4 guards.
Kentucky has a speed advantage, though. Brooklyn Miles showing that speed. She's got 4 here in the first quarter. And Miles, excellent defender, got a hand in there. Striplin, no. Petty the rebound. You can see Kyra Elsie, top of your screen, saying, go, go. Different Lady Vol to score here in the opening minutes. Emma King.
Eric, both teams pressing, both teams offensively just pushing so that the press can't get 5 players set up.
Miles with Striplin and Jackson coming back. And then Miles will circle back out, and Kentucky will get set up.
Already 4 turnovers for Tennessee in this ball game.
And we mentioned before, 23 on Thursday. Shot clock at 7. Tough turnaround. He's going to come up short and picked up by Jewel Spear. Spear on the drive. Two, three, four, 5 different scores for Tennessee.
And I'll say 10 players on the floor right now, all breathing hard because of the pace of play.
We are inside the 5-minute media window, so next whistle we'll get a much desired break for this group on the floor. Look at Petty reaching over and getting the steal. Petty's like, I'm not tired. I'm not tired.
Just can't say enough. I mean, we talked about the offense, but now she's extending the defense, and that's something I think Kentucky has to be careful of, how Asia Petty plays around the perimeter, because that leaves a height advantage for Tennessee down low.
Striplin from the outside. She's got 4, averaging 12 points a game. Closing in on 4 minutes to go. A lot of nonstop basketball right now. Shear defended by Jackson. Jackson picked up an early foul, so she's got to be careful. Petty. Tough shot. Turned the official, was looking for the call, didn't get one.
And Strickland's taking off because she knows Petty's behind her in transition. They missed her.
Another turnover by Tennessee. That's number 6. Kentucky has yet to turn the ball over here in the first quarter. 3.5 to go in the first quarter. Shear off the mark for 2, and here comes Tennessee. Three-pointer is off the market. Brooklyn Miles has a rebound.
And Spears obviously a great three-point shooter, but I would have loved to seen her give Strickland the ball after running the floor. We know Petty's the best player, so I'm a little surprised Tennessee's not trying to go down low and try to get Petty in a little foul trouble.
And this will go against Kentucky.
Do I think Lady Vol fans should be panicked? But some grace and patience because this team is still evolving.
So after that long, extended run of play, substitutions on for both teams. Kaya Wynn, who's played well as she is adapting to that backup point guard role for Tennessee. She's in the game. Tess Darby's in the game. Jillian Hollingshed's in the game. Tamara Key in the game. Spear, the only one of the original starting 5. Kentucky with the zone out of the timeouts.
Carelzi said, we're going to keep mixing up the defenses, trying to keep the Lady Vol offense out of any kind of momentum, out of any kind of fluid execution.
Amia Jenkins in for Kentucky. Janae Walker, freshman, on the floor for Kentucky as well. There's Tyler. Emma King got there. Kentucky can't convert, and here comes Wynn.
And this is where Wynn is at her best, just pushing tempo for the Lady Vols.
Still looking for our first made 3 for either side today. The rebound for Kentucky.
And Tennessee, with the height advantage, still looking for their first offensive rebound. It was a point of emphasis in practice yesterday, yelling at players, 4 players in the paint, get on the glass.
Kentucky hanging in there on the glass as well. This game so far, these two teams even in rebounding, 7 apiece. Another runner, no. Another rebound here on the offensive end, this time for Walker. King on the drive. Tamari Key coming off her best game of the season, making a difference defensively. No reset of the shot clock, unless there's a 3-second violation. Joe Vasili with the call. Thought for a split second they said they wanted to do a reset. That's turnover number 2 for Kyra Elsie's team. What'd she say today to us this morning? She's not calling them 50-50 balls. We want them to be 100 balls, where you would consider 50-50. You have to have that effort to make it perfectly clear that you are the only one who's going to get that offensive rebound or that loose ball. That was what it's going to take against this Tennessee team here today.
Well, and she said, we need to get 5 of those. I kind of joked. I said, Kyra, you're a little height disadvantage player for player. She said a little. And so she said, we may be disadvantaged in the height category, but not in the heart and the hustle. And so far, especially that last defensive sequence for the Lady Vols, they were chasing that entire possession. Effort is definitely better with Kentucky right now.
Foul on Hollingshed, her first, final minutes of the first. The turnover for Wynn. She had 7 turnovers against Auburn. Did have 6 assists and 10 points.
And Wynn, not a natural point guard, having to move into that position because of the injury to Destiny Wells.
Right now, Spear on the handle. Back out to Wynn. The entry to Key. That won't drop. Tennessee now 7 of 13 from the floor here in the first quarter. Tell you what, someone has not been shy at all for Kentucky. That's Sanaya Tyler, but she was rejected by Hollingshed.
And my notes on Tyler is she's hunting shots, and that's what we've seen so far in this first quarter. But I do believe her shot selection is critical because of pace and how Tennessee wants to run.
That was tipped into the backcourt. Shot clock is off. Game clock now down to 5. Wynn on the crossover. The pull-up. Too strong. Key got a hand on it, and that is it. Call that a good first quarter for
her. And Asia Petty said, I'm sitting around with my family back in Baltimore, and I look at my grandmother, and I realize all the sacrifices that my family has made for me, and that I'm not taking advantage of the resources Kentucky's providing me. She rededicated herself. She did every off-season workout. We talked about how she PR'd in every strength conditioning category coming back, and you just love to see that all that hard work is coming to fruition on the court for her this season.
Second quarter is underway. Petty with the 6 points in the first quarter. She's gone for 20 or more 4 times this year. And those are the 4 times in her career she's gone for 20 or more. Another offensive rebound for Kentucky and for Petty. That's the 5th offensive rebound for Kentucky. Tennessee does not have an offensive rebound as of yet. Rickea Jackson makes sure there's not one available this trip as she knocks down the pull-up. Key with the block. Tamari Key looked like the Tamari Key of old against Auburn. 4 points, 6 rebounds, 3 blocks in a season-high 24 minutes last time out.
Well, I asked Kelly Harper, does this mean Tamari's back? She said, I don't know, but it's the first time in 2 years where you saw guards go in to the lane line and then just kind of U-turn out of it because they saw Tamari Key protecting the rim.
You remember the backstory. 13 months ago, it was announced she had blood clots in her lungs, missed the rest of the season after playing the first 9 games. She was preseason first-team all-conference, all-time shot blocker in Tennessee history with 308 to the bench now. Here is Anaya Russell into the game.
I've said this, but for both teams, shot selection key because both teams want to get out and run in transition.
Jackson trying to get away from Brooklyn Miles. And Wynn is fouled, attempting a shot. She'll shoot 2.
I got to believe that this lineup on the floor, Kelly Harper knows the rebounding deficit right now. So she's got really big with both Strickland as well as Hollingshed. And then obviously Rickea Jackson still on the floor.
Rickea Jackson averaging 11 rebounds a game and had 19 boards last time out. Fouls on Brooklyn Miles. That is her 2nd personal foul, so that is important for Kentucky as she goes to the bench with 8:45 to go in the second quarter. Brooklyn played at Tennessee the last 2 seasons, 56 total games off the bench, 7 minutes a game last season, but she has started for this Kentucky team this year. One of only 2 to start every game this season. Petty's the other one.
Well, I just made a mark of the score when Miles went to the bench because when I asked Kyra Elzy, I said, hey, based on the game plan, who's the most important player for you today? She said Brooklyn Miles. She sets the tone. She sets the pace for my ball club.
So Asia Petty is being attended to over at the Kentucky bench. Needed a bandage, looked like, so she's ready to go. First point for Wynn. 1 point game. Here's Tennessee's pressure.
Made free throw allows Tennessee to set up into this full court pressure.
Kentucky will slow things down in the half court. Hollingshed with the kick. Substitutions for Tennessee. Sarah Puckett back into the game. Jasmine Powell into the game. Hollingshed and Wynn will sit down.
You wonder with this pace, can Kentucky sustain it? Really only going 4 deep so far this season off the bench.
Also, too, Christy, with Miles on the bench with the 2 personal fouls. There's Petty. Petty, and 1.
Eric, like all good rebounds.
Petty has picked up 1 SEC Player of the Week award. Good game here today. She would be in the conversation for another one after going for 22 and 19 in a win over Arkansas in Lexington on Thursday. Offensive rebound. Russell. Tough shot. Gets the roll. Powell looks down. Wide open 3. Petty won the rebound. Here's Kentucky on the run.
Talked about Petty's increased endurance strength. What I'm seeing is a more explosive athlete, though.
Kentucky finding the range from outside. They have stretched it out to a change since the first practices of the season.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, what it means for both these teams is your margin of error has shrunk because of all these injuries and not having just the luxury of playing players the way you want, maybe some of the pressing or systematic things that both these head coaches wanted to do. But as we said, when you've got Rakia Jackson on the floor, when you've got Asia Petty on the floor, you've got a lot of upside for your ball club.
Kelly Harper had to take the timeout because it's been a 7-0 run for Kentucky over a 37-second span to go on top by 9. I think the two numbers that jump out so far got to be rebounding, Kentucky being a +3 in that category. The turnovers once again piling up for Tennessee. They have not committed one yet in the second quarter until I just opened my mouth and those words came out. I apologize to all the Tennessee fans who are too polite to curse at me, but I know what you're thinking.
Well, and this was why Kelly Harper is so adamant that her team needs to get on the offensive glass. She knows they're going to turn the ball over because of pace. She wants them to create extra possessions. That's an area of emphasis for the Lady Vols right now.
That may be the biggest surprise of all. Offensive rebounding, 7-2 advantage for Kentucky. Maddie Shear knocks it down. Kentucky shooting very well here in the second quarter. They're 6 of 10 from the field here in quarter 2. Jackson knocks down another. Double figures now for Rakia with 11.
You wonder if this is going to be like the Auburn game where the offense now starts to go through Rakia for the Lady Vols.
Russell, good acceleration to the basket, 4-2, and Ina Russell's got 4. She had 9 points in 14 minutes against Arkansas, so another spark off the bench. Cassidy Rowe.
Tennessee, I think, was really focused on trying to clog up the paint and to defend Asia Petty, and that's leaving the perimeter players open right now.
Strickland gets called for the foul, trying to keep Petty away from the basketball. That's 2 on Strickland, so Jillian Hollingshed will come into the game.
I know Kentucky played a crazy hard non-conference schedule, 47th in terms of strength of schedule, 5 Power 5 opponents. But what I see from an offensive execution now, from during that crux of the schedule, is just a head coach who knows her players' strengths. And that's the sets that you're seeing. That's what's being called to put these players in a good position to get good looks.
Are you seeing a carryover, too, from the SEC opener? They scored 29 points in the fourth quarter against Arkansas, went 8 for 8 down the stretch from the free throw line, made winning plays when the game was on the line. And they've come out here today with that kind of mentality right from the jump.
Back and forth there late in the game. Arkansas takes the lead, and I really was concerned for Kentucky. And then you just saw the toughness as we're seeing Tyler shoot the gap, steal, and score. And this is what you're seeing from Kentucky. And this is what Kyra Elzy said today. We're overmatched. We are smaller, but the heart and effort will be on display. And so far in this half, that's what we're seeing.
Just after Kentucky had stretched the lead out to 16, Tennessee answers back with Hollingshed.
Tennessee going to a half-court matchup zone as well.
Russell, there's been no fear from the bench players. And again, a second chance opportunity for Kentucky. Petty with some long strides down the lane. Outside the three-point line here in the second quarter. Spear on the drive was fouled. She'll shoot 2.
Smart play by Spear. Closeout by Rowe was there, so she put it on the floor and attacked.
So we talked about the non-conference. We have one conference game to play off of for teams in the SEC, day 2 of the conference season. If you go by the first conference game for Kentucky when it came to three-point shooting, if I told you that they would be 5 of 7 from the floor here in this game when they were 0 for 10 against Arkansas, you probably wouldn't be the first time. You probably wouldn't believe me. But that is the truth right now.
But the one commonality in the game Thursday against Arkansas and the game today, they're playing so hard. They are relentless right now. If they miss a shot, they know they're undersized. And so if they can't grab it, they're tipping it. They're keeping it alive. Great spacing by Kentucky as well right now.
Cassidy Rowe looking for Petty. Hollingshed there defensively. Tyler has not been shy. 4 of 8 shooting. Now gives it up to Spear. Won't drop, but she'll head to the line to shoot 2. First foul on Tyler. So Jules Spear will head to the free throw line for the Lady Vols, averaging just under 11 points a game, 71% from the free throw line. First of 4 games here today on the SEC Network. We'll keep the good times rolling on Thursday, doubleheader Thursday here on the SEC Network, also on the ESPN app. And we'll be here in Knoxville, Florida and Tennessee, 7 Eastern, 6 Central rather. And then Mississippi State and Arkansas will close out the doubleheader Thursday night here on the SEC Network.
And this is an important stretch for the Lady Vols defensively. They need to cut into this deficit, start to create some positive momentum going into the half.
Approaching 2 minutes to go in the half. Tipped out of bounds. 5 on the shot clock for Kentucky.
And a lot of players on both sides breathing really heavy. I can't say this enough. The pace of this game has been up-tempo both ends with a lot of pressing as well.
Petty tried to keep it alive. Numbers the other way for Tennessee. Win for Hollingshed. Extra pass, beautifully done. Win with the basket. And an offensive foul called on Maddie Shear. That's her first personal. Spear taking the charge.
Spear known for her offense, but in this late part of the game, it's been 2 defensive stands, the steal and score, and that time sliding over to draw the charge on Maddie Shear.
Tennessee is cutting into the deficit. Remember, they were down by 17, and they're doing this right now with Rakia Jackson on the bench. She has 1 foul. She's got 11 points, but Jackson right now watching the 5 on the floor for Tennessee go on a 6-0 run. Wynn found an opening. Tennessee's had a few that would not drop here today. And there's Shear to King, who will go to the free throw line to foul on Powell.
Maddie Shear does so much for the Wildcats. A lot of things don't even show up in the stat sheet. She knows pace of play. She knows who's on the floor for Tennessee, so that's why she just pushed it and set up Emma King on the weak side.
First personal on Powell, and Emma King will step to the free throw line. The senior from Stanford, Kentucky. Played some good minutes on Thursday in that win against Arkansas. Was in double figures with 10 points. 3rd time in double figures this season. Kentucky was on top 17 here in this second quarter. King slows down that Tennessee momentum to push it back to 13. Point over to the bench, I think, to our head coach, Kelly Harper, who was whispering a little something in her ear, something to do, and it worked out well. Final minute, 10-point game.
Emma King got away with the travel there.
Petty, Hollingshed can't stop Asia Petty.
Tremendous touch by Asia Petty. Knows she's undersized, so that's why you see so many counters, and she's patient till she gets the advantage and drops it down for 2.
Final seconds, second quarter. Spear on the run. This one will drop. And that will be the final hoop of the half, with finish by Tennessee with 13 points. Jackson with 11 for Kentucky. Asia Petty with 12 points and 7 boards. She was 6 of 8 from the field in the first half. You see the team numbers, that 3-point shooting, huge in the second quarter, as Kentucky was 5 of 6 from outside the 3-point line. Tennessee was a minus 17 in turnover margin in their opener, yet still won the game. So this is something that they're not unfamiliar with so far in the early going. Petty driving to the basket for 2 more.
I think the ability to defend around the perimeter is key for Tennessee this second half. They can't allow steps, which forces rotations, leaving players open.
Jackson can't get it to drop. She'll go to the line to shoot 2. Jackson was on the bench for the final few minutes of the first half as Spear went on that run when she scored 11 of her 13 points. Foul is on King, her second. The lead was 17 in the first half for Kentucky. Jackson brings it to 11 here in the opening minute of the third quarter. We know our scoreboard is out of commission at the moment. The turnaround, and just as I say that, it's back. I've got that kind of power. Strickland inside. Good fight. Second chance opportunity for Tennessee, and they make the most of it.
Well, you mentioned the turnover battle for Tennessee. They have to make it up somewhere. It's got to be on the offensive glass. That time staying with it. Strickland trying to finally get the ball to go down.
Brooklyn Miles picked up her second personal foul with 8:45 to go in the second quarter. She's out there to start second half, trying to create something, and she does off the window for two. Returning here to Knoxville, the Kentucky native who played for Tennessee the last 2 years, has 6. Jackson, smooth release of the three. There's another offensive rebound for Strickland and a second chance point for Strickland. 2 points, 8 now for Strickland.
I got to believe hitting the offensive glass was a big message at halftime for the Lady Vols. Strickland already with 4 second chance points here this quarter.
Petty fighting inside, and she was fouled by Strickland.
Kentucky gets it going here with Brooklyn Miles. I mean, that was a tough shot. And then on the other end, Caroline Strickland just gets away with a little bit of a shove there, staying on the offensive glass.
Problem for Strickland is she now has 3 personal fouls, so she's going to take a seat on the bench. Maddie Shear. A little too strong, follows her miss. Miles has it, 11 to shoot. Shear. And a foul is called on the drive on Tennessee. Tamari Key into the game for Strickland.
And how does she draw the foul? On Key, dribble penetration. She gets by Spear. And Lady Vol fans don't like the call. Key did get ball, but she got body as well.
And I know she left her feet, but it's always worth a reminder that that restricted area does not exist in women's basketball this season. That arc is there on the court. The men are still using it. The women are not. They're using an imaginary line under the cylinder of the basket.
Kentucky sitting into full court pressure again.
Off the window, and a trip to the free throw line for Jules Spear, trying to keep that aggressiveness going that we saw in that second quarter.
Well, you remember the beginning of this game, it was Tennessee 4 quick points because they just attacked the full court pressure of Kentucky. Nice to see them doing that again. And I really believe they need to try to go at Petty.
Emma King's got to check out. She's got 3 fouls. Ania Jenkins will come on. This is Jenkins' 4th game back from a shoulder injury. Still has it taped up pretty well. As Jules Spear hits. There is Jenkins. 15 for Spear. Her season best in a Tennessee uniform is 20. Cassidy Rowe. Defended by Powell. Now Miles.
Asia Petty telling the perimeters where to send the ball because she knows how she can get the advantage offensively.
Rowe passed up the shot. Maddie Shear is there to pick up the loose ball. Turnaround off the mark, but look who's crashing the glass is Asia Petty. Tie up, possession arrow will keep it with Kentucky. Just 3 seconds on the shot clock.
Can't say enough about how well Asia Petty tracks shots to get those offensive rebounds.
Back out to Rowe. She's got to launch it. Doesn't get it off in time, I don't believe. Shot clock violation. It'll be Tennessee basketball. So Tennessee has it single digits, and they've got the basketball now facing the Kentucky pressure.
We're seeing some player-to-player full court pressure now. We've seen zone. We've seen the full court pressure. We've seen the half-court zone. We've seen the half-court player-to-player. Unforced turnover there by Tennessee.
Puckett throws it away. certainly unnerved by the pressure in the backcourt. 11th turnover for the Lady Vols. Kentucky's season low in turnovers is 11. They've done it twice, and they lost both those games. That's going to be a turnover on Petty. Tennessee ball, more Kentucky pressure. So Tennessee's been able to win when giving up a lot of turnovers. They've lost when they've kept it to a manageable amount of turnovers.
What Kelly Harper's saying, the two fewest turnover games, our pace was not good. We need to be able to score in transition. This is when Rakia Jackson gets the majority of her points is in transition. So that's why Kelly Harper focuses so much on pace. They were scrimmaging yesterday. They don't play with a 30-second shot clock. They play with a 15-second shot clock.
What has Kentucky done to disrupt that Tennessee pace?
Ball pressure has been really good.
Jackson looking for the foul, no call. Plays it in. Crowd making a little noise here. Tamari King gets her third block. But then Brooklyn Miles flying in from behind. That's going to be a traveling violation on Jenkins. It's the right call. Spear was right there, and Jenkins just had nowhere to put the basketball.
Love the effort by both ball clubs. Brooklyn Miles gets blocked, does not give up on the play. Almost able to get the ball back for her ball club. See that Iverson cut by the Vols, and that allows Rakia Jackson to get in the paint post up.
Maddie Shear with a hard foul, and Jackson back to the free throw line. I think we're going to have our fair share of free throws the rest of the way here. This is going to be free throw attempt number 5 and 6 for Tennessee already in the third quarter. Foul on Shear was her second personal foul. Men's hoop, Wednesday night, doubleheader. Fifth-ranked Tennessee takes out Mississippi State in our first game at 7 Eastern. Then it's off to the Pavilion in Oxford. Ole Miss taking on Florida in the win over Auburn on Thursday, knocked down 24. Not quite LSU numbers, but that's up there. Shear. Back to Petty. Shear drops it down to Petty. There's Tamari Key. Altering the shot. Won't go into the books as a block. Tough pass to handle. Turnover by Powell as she tried to find Spear.
Those are the really difficult turnovers. I know Kelly Harper's okay with it because they're pushing pace, but that's where Jasmine Powell now as the mainstay point guard has to be better at setting her team up in that half court in transition.
Third turnover of the third quarter for Tennessee. King passed on the open look. Petty back to Shear. Defended by Jackson. Five to shoot. Tough shot's going to come up well short. Grabbed by Darby. Shot selection hasn't been great for Kentucky. Also, the paint has been taken away from them because Tamari Key has just been that difference maker that we saw early in her career.
Well, that last possession, Emma King had to step on her defender, got in the paint, and then she saw Key rotate to her, so she passed out.
Penny trying to rip it away from Tamari Key. She'll go over and help Tamari up. Key's the one who gets missing for the foul.
So I wish there was a way for Stat Broadcast to track.
What do you want? I've been tracking things in my mind.
Right. Shots altered.
A lot.
Okay.
That's an official stat.
You're
know
walking encyclopedia.
You just ask. I'm not going to let the facts get in the way of a good story.
There we go.
But it has been a difference, and that's what we saw in the Lady Vols opener against Auburn. King on the drive, down to 7 on the shot clock. King for 3. Another tough shot. Misses everything. Tennessee basketball, and again, Lady Vols a chance to go in front. Ira Elsie's team, sorry, Christy, they have pushed back here defensively. You just assumed with all the momentum that it's just a matter of time before Tennessee went in front, but Kentucky digging in a little bit here defensively, trying to make it tough on the Lady Vols.
Well, as we saw on Thursday night in their win over Arkansas, this is a resilient Wildcat ball club. They're not going to go away. Big possession for Tennessee, looking to execute. Love that Rakia got a touch.
Shear is going to pick up her fourth.
Tough call against Maddie Shear. She rotates over, does come across the arm of Rakia Jackson. Good call. And Shear immediately looks over to Kyra Ells and says, I'm okay. I got this. The head coach decides to rotate her out.
She fouled out against Arkansas last time out. Goes to the bench with 10 points, 5 assists, and 4 rebounds. Again, that's what Maddie Shear does, filling up the stat sheet, getting steals as well. So Tennessee has continued the climb, and they have the lead back. Tennessee first had the lead 12 seconds into the game. Kia Jackson to the bench, and Tennessee has matched their largest lead of the game at 2. They were down by 17 in the first half.
And Eric, that substitution by Kelly Harper was subtle. She waited to get Rakia Jackson out so that Kentucky couldn't get it in quick and push tempo.
Rebound for Key. It's just her first rebound. Spear.
Well, she's been blocking every shot that goes up, so those aren't rebounds.
Tess Darby, that's going to be short. I think maybe a piece for Emma King, and now a foul called on Tennessee.
I think if you're Tennessee right now, you don't want to put Kentucky on the free throw line. Your half-court defense has been solid. Make Kentucky have to score in the half-court offense, not at the free throw line.
Kyle Wynn will come into the game. Jules Spear will sit down. Spear with 17. Ian Jackson leading the way for Tennessee. Final 2 minutes, third quarter. Day number 2 of the SEC schedule. 2 teams on 4-game winning streaks, both winning their conference openers on Thursday. And Nia Russell with the drive, the basket, and the foul.
Eric, if you're going to go on the road first.
No, Russell now with a chance to get into double figures with 10. She averaged 3.5 points a game in 11 minutes a game last season. She's 5 points over that mark. Jackson's going to come in. And Sarah Puckett's going to check out.
I think Kelly Harper realizes this is an offensive possession, so she gets Rakia Jackson back in the game.
3-point play for Russell. Kentucky back in front. Kentucky back to the pressure. Russell a little too aggressive on Jasmine Powell.
Well, just as heads up by Jasmine Powell because she felt Russell coming up behind her, so kind of got in that path to draw the foul.
That's her first. And Jasmine Powell will head to the free throw line, 72% so far in the season. Powell played well against Auburn, had 16 points, and was really good at the free throw line. 8 for 10, we mentioned before. Down the stretch, Tennessee made their free throws. They had a 13-0 run against Auburn in the second half. They were down 10 early in the third quarter, and they went on to win. Similar to today, they were down 10 at halftime. They've come back to take the lead. Back in front now by 1. 90 seconds to go in the third. Petty is going to test the Tamari Key waters, and the waters are pretty deep, but Petty earns a trip to the free throw line.
You can hear the entire arena not agree with this call, and I think Tamari Key would have been better off if she'd have just gone up straight, but it's the fact that she reaches across, and I think there's a foul there because she hits across the arm. But good for Kentucky to make sure Petty got a touch there.
Petty has excelled in a lot of things this year. The free throw line hasn't been one of those areas. 56% from the line. 0 for 2 today.
Well, considering how well Patty's been playing, she is third in the SEC in free throw attempts. So that's how many points she's leaving on the table with these last couple of games.
Key inside against Petty. Largest lead for Tennessee, on top by 3. Darby. And a foul given by Cassidy Rowe. Tamari Key making a difference defensively.
Throughout this game, she's just getting more assertive defensively.
Her last full season was the 21-22 season when she averaged 10 points, 8 rebounds, and had 119 total blocks. Right now trying to deny Petty. Rukia Jackson with the rebound. Her 6th. Ran a little out of control, trying to get it back.
Smart move to just kill the dribble with Brooklyn Miles around her.
And a timeout called by the Tennessee bench as Wynn on the job training as a point guard. Look at the record. This is game number 14 this season. Tennessee's trying to improve to 9-5. This is a different team with one of the very best players in the country on the floor because she impacts other players on the floor for Tennessee.
Absolutely. You see there, it's not just the points per game or the field goal percentage or even the rebounding of what she brings to the field. I really want to talk about her impact on her teammates. Jewel Spear, without Rukia Jackson in the lineup, only shot 27% from the field, averaged 14 points. I'm sorry, that's with Rukia. 14 points, shooting 51% from the field. Those 8 games without her, averaged 8 points and struggled to convert, shooting less than 30% from the field.
This is where I come in with the broom and just say, Christy's point is, Jewel Spear is a lot better. Everybody's a lot better when Rukia Jackson's on.
I would even be better with Rukia Jackson.
You were already pretty good. You'd have to get over is giving up 3-point shots to find Rukia Jackson in the offense. Would not come easy. 4 on the shot clock. The entry to Key knocked away. Turnover Tennessee. That's their 14th. Remember, they had 7 turnovers in the first quarter. Shear. That looked good off her hand. Couldn't get it. And a foul is called on Kentucky as Jackson hit the deck. Now the officials are getting together. Are they going to change the call?
Yes.
I don't think this is going to go over very well here in Knoxville.
Baseline official was going to make the call against Kentucky. Trail official called the foul on Tennessee, and the fans of Rocky Top are letting their thoughts be known. Eric, to summarize the 2 halves, Kentucky shot 50% from the field in the first half, shooting 25% here in the second half.
So that's 4th foul on Key as they make the change. Hollingshed into the game for Key. Trying to deny Petty. Hollingshed sold the foul.
Gets in position, draws the charge on Petty. Might have been a little bit of acting as well, but she got the call.
Watching Kentucky's reaction, there's nothing little bit about what they thought about the acting there. It goes into the books as a foul on Petty. Now Russell back the other way, trying to gather, set herself wisely. She had plenty of time, and she gets the basket. Anaya Russell continues to be a spark. 14 points now for Russell.
And with Kentucky's pressure defense, they are never out of a game. Still over 5 minutes to go in this game. Time for Tennessee to take care of the ball.
Hollingshed in the low post. Inside, out, wide open 3. Powell. Great save by Rukia Jackson. Hollingshed couldn't get the reverse. Reading that all the way was Jewel Spear with the interception and the foul called on Tyler.
That's one of those where Russell has to read the defense. If you're going that far across the court, and we've talked about the points of Spear today, 17 in this game, but that's still drawing the foul. And I can't go back to the second quarter and say it enough about her defensive presence and how it really rallied the Lady Vols.
That play saw a great look. That was like the safety reading the quarterback's eyes and stepping in for the interception.
Are you trying to put it in terms that I would understand so you go to football?
Well, I mean, you understand basketball. Football's your passion.
It is SEC country.
They're trying to get the clock right. Still plenty of time to go here in the fourth quarter. For the moment, it's been a 29-point turnaround. Kentucky was on top by 17. Tennessee's largest lead, 12. Currently at 9, approaching 5 minutes to go.
You wonder when. Oh, no. You wonder if Tennessee will attack Maddie Shear trying to get her off the floor.
Thea Jackson turned it over. There's Maddie Shear playing with those 4 personal fouls. Not going to stop her aggressiveness, though. Couldn't get it on the inside. Jackson drops into more. 27 points for Rickea Jackson. 11 of 17 from the field.
Eric, in the first half, Kentucky was 7 of 10 on layups. To this point in the game now, they're only 13 of 26. That's the Tamari Key factor now and how it's affected shots at the rim.
Right now with Key on the bench, Hollingshed trying to be that defensive presence in the paint. Strong take again. Anaya Russell with 16 points, just about doubling up her scoring average. She did go for a career best 21 against Boston College this season.
Running jump by Kentucky.
Hollingshed found the teammate who was open, cutting to the basket. Jewel Spear.
Jillian Hollingshed gets all the credit for that play because she flashed to where the trap was to present herself for that pass out and then found her teammate on the weak side.
Now remember, Kentucky has 1 timeout remaining, and we have used the media timeout here in the fourth quarter. That's why we're not going to see a stoppage here unless it's called by Kentucky or Tennessee. We had that long extended run of play in the first quarter. Tennessee would be fine with a little bit more of that with 3.5 to go here in the fourth.
Ask Kelly Harper if in some ways it was nice to have Auburn and Kentucky back-to-back because of the pressure defense. I said absolutely because of how they denied the ball. And I got to say, I think Jewel Spear learned a lot from the Auburn game, the high-pressure defense and the way she's responded here today.
Hands by Tess Darby to knock it away from Russell. The rebound on the other end for Petty was her 14th, so she's got 14 points, 14 rebounds. 3 minutes to go here in the fourth quarter, an 11-point game. Game 1 of our quadruple header here on a Sunday afternoon and evening on the SEC Network. Oh, strong take and finish. Jewel Spear. New season high for her. Previous was 20. She's got 21. Of course, that means a new Tennessee high for Spear. First year with the Lady Vols after playing at Wake Forest. 2.5 to go. Shear with the kick. Wide open 3. Rebound for Powell. Off the miss by Miles.
Smart decision by Powell just to slow it up now, knowing the clock's on their side.
Again, the clock continues to run. We've been playing running clock here for a little while. Jackson on the turnaround. Comes up short. Hollingshed a little too aggressive, trying to rip it away from Russell. She'll pick up her second personal foul. Tamari Key will come back into the game for Tennessee. Emma King coming on for Kentucky. It's been the 1-2 punch of Hollingshed and Key. Well, Hollingshed's actually going to stay in the game, and Jackson is going to head out along with Spear.
Spear's been working hard. She's bringing a little hard on that last defensive series, so I think this is just to give her a quick blow.
Inside of 2 minutes to go here in the fourth.
Kyrie Elsie getting her better three-point shooters on the floor here.
King on the floor. Shear on the season, 34% three-point shooter. Tyler leading the team in threes made and attempted. Shear drops it down to Petty. Petty again. Again, she wants to challenge Tamari Key. Extra pass, open 3, no good, and Hollingshed pulls down her 6th rebound. Rebounding story has certainly flipped. Right now, Tennessee is a +6 in rebounding margin. Remember, it was a Kentucky edge He trying to stick with it, and that's going to be 5 on Shear.
Key just trying to create something. The double comes in. She lets go of the ball and going up for that rebound. That's when Shear gets her. That's a big blow for Kentucky.
Shear fouls out. "13 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists. Shear's day is done. A reminder, our day is just beginning. More basketball to come here on the SEC Network. After us, it's Georgia and Arkansas in Fayetteville.
Fans, if you have not watched the freshman phenom Talia Scott from Arkansas, you need to tune in.
It's going to be a foul on Kaya Wynn. That's a 13 foul on Tennessee, so no free throws here for Kentucky. Kentucky went on top by 17. Tennessee flipped the script. What's your biggest takeaway for how this game turned like it did, Christy?
It was the defense. I thought it was Tariq Key's presence in the paint that allowed Tennessee to get out transition. But, Eric, I was baffled at halftime with Kentucky leading in paint points 24-20 over the much bigger Lady Vol team. The second half, it's flipped. Tennessee's outscored them 6-22 in the
How
paint.
much is that the key in the Hollingshead factor?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, we'll talk a lot about spirit with Kia. It's always going to be about defense and rebounding at Tennessee. Both head coaches told us today rebounding would be the key stat, and it is so true. The script being flipped at halftime with Tennessee starting to take over the paint and the boards.
Well, even though our day is just about done here, we're just getting started on the SEC Network. Still 3 more games to come. Alyssa and Steffi will get you ready for the next game and recap this one. For Christy Thomas Cuddy and our Chrome Eric Freed. Ladies, all yours.